Hello and thank you for joining us on the Tuesday edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. Today on the program, security operatives relocate deposed EMIR Muhammadu SANUSI II to another location after he called for calm in a video as Falana declares his removal illegal. And later on the show, TCN says power outage to last for 10 days over gas supply problems. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Olayinka Oyebile. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Uneasy, they say, lies the head that wears the crown. For the deposed Emir of Kano, Muhammadu Sanusi II, it has been uneasy before, during, and after his reign as the 14th Emir of the ancient city of Kano. Few hours after arriving LOKO, Nasarawa State, where he was banished, Sanusi spoke in a video calling for calm and support for his successor. Shortly afterwards, he was ushered into a waiting police helicopter and moved to another location. Babajide, since yesterday after he left Kano, I saw the video how he left Kano. He left through the back door, according to our correspondent there, and was taken. And he arrived in LOKO around 2 a.m. as of yesterday, and from that 2:40 by 1:30 again today, he has been taken to another location. Is this the regular practice?
No, I won't say it's a regular practice, but even his, Mustafa Jokolo, the former Emir of Gwandu, was also banished to Nasarawa State and was moved around. It wasn't the first place they took him to that eventually stayed in, So it's possible that they were looking for a place more befitting of his status, because I saw a close shot of that house, and I am personally disappointed that for a man of Sanusi's taste, or Sanusi's stature, that is a place where they decided to take him to. A place is just not good enough. I know that they had been planning to remove him for some time, so they should have found a better place to send him to. It's enough punishment. It's enough mental agony that the man has lost his tool. Then, yes, it's a lifetime agony. And wherever you are taking him to, it should be a place of comfort, should be a place that will at least make him happy. Otherwise, it's wrong. It's unfair to take him to a place like that. That looked, compared to, given his stature, given the fact that he liked things beautiful and all that,
beautiful cars,
good life, library, and all that, that's not where you should take that kind of person to. That building was like a pigsty compared to places where he had inhabited in the past. Of course, he came from a well-heeled class. His father was a diplomat, so it's not, and he went to some of the best schools in our country. So he's not someone.
And he rose to the highest position in the business.
Yes. As a banker, became the #1 banker in the country, and was voted Banker of the Year globally. So you don't send that kind of person to what looks like a pigsty, because in my view, that place was just not good enough. I saw a close-up shot of the building, and no, that's not the sort of place to take a man like that. So I support relocating him to a much more befitting place where he can sit down and be able to write, because he likes writing. Before he became CBN governor, he was a columnist in a newspaper. So where he would have the presence of mind and be able to concentrate and pick up the pieces of his life.
The person I saw yesterday did not look broken.
No.
as in, I even have some shots
Yeah.
of him in the private jets when they were taking him down to this thing. Now, was this avoidable at all? This path he has chosen to walk through?
Well, if you ask me, it was a choice he could have avoided. I mean, to be deposed. But you see, there are some people whose life rebellion, positive now, not rebellion in terms of that streak runs in their blood. That no matter where you put
Can't bend
them,
them.
you will. Because honestly, if you look at it, at that point or at that where he has gotten to, even if he decided not to say anything about the poor living conditions of the north, either in Kano or anywhere in Nigeria, he could decide that he was not going to talk. He is already well healed. I mean, and by the time when, as they say, when the heavens will fall, it will fall on none of us. But in his own case, when the heaven is going to fall, it will have some cushion. But he made a choice that, look, despite all the opulence that surrounds me, I cannot keep quiet. I cannot allow these things to go on. He had already made his choice. So that picture of him yesterday, one, might be first a picture of an immediate picture that, look, let me look unruffled. Maybe in his own sober time, he would have looked at it and said, come, why did I do this thing? Why did I allow it to happen? And also, to add to what Babajide has said, I think those who removed him did not think that, I think we'll be asking for too much to think that they will give him a place that will be comfortable for him. Then why remove him? The essence of his removal is to humiliate him and show him that, look, we made you something and we cannot make you. Even though they may not have contributed to his making, and making in terms of the person he has become, but the truth of the matter is that I think what they intended doing is to show him that, look, power belongs to us and we can dispense power at all times. Of course, we all say power belongs to God, but God will not come down in heaven to exercise that power. He will use somebody. So that is what they have done. The essence of it is to make him feel, why did I do all this? And in a sober moment, if at all he will have that, what I'm expecting that if ever they will allow that, is for him to now sit down calmly, do a memoir, write what led to all this, how he feels and how he felt and how he's feeling now, so that people can learn from his own experience.
But actually, I saw a video of late governor of Kano, that's Abubakar Rimi, yesterday. And when he was talking, the way he was talking about Adebo Ayero, and the description you gave to me about the respected emir, was quite different from the way Rimi was talking. What is it with governors and the emir of Kano? As at that time, the way Rimi was talking, he was talking as if, look, if we depose him, nothing can happen. That means they are close. You will know that the relationship is not too close. As at the time he granted that interview.
If you know Rimi very well, Rimi had a socialist background, and remember even the PRP that Rimi came to power through, headed by Alhaji Aminu Kano, had socialist bent, socialist and welfareist bent. So there's no way you will have that orientation or background and then be seen as pandering to feudal lords. Yes, because feudalism and socialism do not work together. So Rimi, from the word go, didn't really like the feudal elements. in Kano. And remember, when he gave the Emir of Kano a query, it cost him the life of his political advisor at that time, Bala Mohammed, who married Najatu Mohammed, the first woman to be elected president of a university students' union in our country. So Rimi never liked the Emir. He showed it, but the Emir of Kano was so popular at that time that if he had tried to touch the Emir, even when he issued a mere query, they set ablaze the town and they killed the ideologue. Bala Mohammed was the ideologue of that administration. Was the brain box. He was the brain box of that administration. That they killed him, they set him ablaze inside his house. So the Emir of Kano, until he died, the late Adubairo, was a very, very well-respected traditional ruler, respected even beyond Nigeria. Himself and the Oni of Ife, they were respected outside our country. And why did they even issue him a query? Because he traveled to Israel. With the Oni of Ife. And at that time, Nigeria had no diplomatic relations with Israel. So they said, why did you travel without permission? You know, but the people of Kano said, no, you can't humiliate our king. And they sent a clear message to Rimi by their actions at that time. And don't also forget, Rimi was not re-elected.
Yeah. My producer is telling me that that video is ready. That was actually before Sanusi had spoken in a video accepting what has befallen him in good faith. He called on the people of Kano to be calm and support the new emir, Aminu Ado Bayero. Let's hear from him.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalamu.
In the name of Allah, peace be unto you all. We are always thankful to Almighty Allah. We have accepted and we are thankful to God. We would also like to thank the people of Kano for the love they have shown to us and loyalty. We are also thankful to our disciples and our aides. We call on the people of Kano to remain calm. We wish to plead to you to support the new emir, showing solidarity to him and protect his integrity. We thank all our relatives and plead with them to be patient. We are reminding them that God does not make mistakes. What God has chosen is the right thing.
Sanusi Lamido Sanusi is not is not easy to break.
Yeah, he clearly had made up his mind to take it in good faith, but events will show to us in the coming days whether I will challenge this. As Oyegbile said earlier, the implication of deposition may not hit you immediately until you begin to lose your freedom. Until you discover that you can't travel abroad the way you like,
and it travels abroad
until you discover that you can't have access to your visitors at will. You know, you can't call people. You are probably not going to get invited frequently to events.
All those public speaking.
And that was why I said at that time, when during an event, he said, look, I can remove this turban at any time. I can drop the kingship of Kano at any time. And I said, look, wait a minute. You don't know the implication of being removed. If you get removed as Emir of Kano, you will never see Kano again.
Yeah.
Because you'll be banished and you will never get to see that town again. That in itself is something, your hometown that you've loved from childhood, that you've always loved to be. Kano is a beautiful place.
And has always wanted to be an
you
emir.
wanted to
Exactly.
be. Now to
His
suddenly imagine that they will not allow you to visit. It's painful when you realize that you can't go where you like. Buhari has not forgiven those who did not allow him. When they detained Buhari, they put him under house arrest in Benin. And his parents died. They didn't allow him to go see his parents. It's one of the things for which he will never forgive them. And Umaru Diko too refused to forgive Buhari because Umaru Diko lost his dad.
Yeah.
But because Buhari chased him into exile, he could not see the dad when the man died. He could not see his corpse to pay his last respect. And so on a particular day, I think in 1995, they met at a function. And Buhari wanted to shake hands with Umaru Diko, the former transport minister during the Shagari era. Of course, Umaru Diko refused to shake his hands. He said, take your hand away. I won't shake you. So that is how it is. That is how it is. Buhari will not forgive those who kept him in detention, under house arrest, and stopped him from paying the last respect to his parents. And he too, because he hounded Umaru Diko to exile. The Zaria-born Umaru Diko saw him at a function. Buhari was beaming with smiles. He was smiling. He wanted to shake the hand. He said, no, I will not shake you. And that picture was on the front page of AM News then by Sam Brimo, the great cameraman. Sam Brimo captured the scene with Buhari's hand being rejected. So that when you lose your freedom is such a bad thing, especially for well-heeled, someone who belongs to the well-heeled class. I'm not sure he had never at any point wanted something that he was denied. Yeah. So now you see that situation, you cannot go where you like.
Inga, I saw the picture
Yes.
of the new emir today,
Yes.
and he has gone to Aso Rock to pay homage to President Muhammadu Buhari. That is his first assignment. It's a sign that it's done and dusted, and this thing was not done behind the villa.
No, you see, the truth of the matter is that this action was only taken yesterday. All these decisions have been taken, I'm sure, more than
Maybe
a
immediately
month
after
ago.
the election.
Exactly.
Maybe even immediately after the election.
The only thing will be that
You are waiting for
let
the right
us
time.
wait, let us calculate who needs to hear, who do we need to brief, what do we need to do. And of course, the security agencies will have been briefed
Yes.
and to know what the implications are.
I learned that even he started suspecting,
Of course.
because suddenly we started seeing more security men around his palace and all that.
Exactly.
So
And
he knew that
besides
something was coming.
Besides that, he will also have gotten some whiff of it, because I'm sure there will be some security agents who are also close to him or who know him, and they might have whispered to him that this is likely to happen. Then the issue of is either seeing Kano again or not. You see, in life, even in your own house, the day you decide that you don't want to go out, you will enjoy yourself in your house. But let somebody come one day and say that, look, Olayinka, you cannot leave this house. You get what I'm saying? The day you decide that you are not going to leave your house, you will enjoy yourself.
This is your own decision.
Exactly.
Your choice.
But the day anyone tells you that, okay, this is your house, I don't want to see you outside this house. It is on that day that you will be hungry to even... to even see what is going on outside. Some other days you might sit there inside, people will be making noise everywhere. You are not bothered, you don't want to go out. But the day anyone comes and say that you can't leave this
Take
place,
away your freedom.
so the freedom has been taken away. Even the issue of having the state of mind to be able to do anything now will not be there, because, I mean, in retrospect, he will be thinking, why, I'm sure, as I said earlier, in a sober moment, he will sit down and ask himself, was it worth it? If he had kept quiet, I mean, whether a bag of rice is 100,000 naira or whatever, it doesn't concern him. All he needs is, I want to eat rice. They will prepare it for him. I want to eat tuwo. I want to eat shinkafa. This, no. But now, thinking about it.
Okay, we're told that Abubakar Mahmood, lawyer to EMIR Sanusi, is briefing the press. Let's just take
The
it.
lawyer.
He would have informed us. In our view, the action was patently illegal and unconstitutional and a clear abuse of power. Be that as it may, the decision to challenge the removal is solely that of the Emir, Mohammed Sanusi II. At this moment, no such instruction has been given to us. Since the deposition of the Emir, I was at the palace yesterday afternoon in the company of one of my senior colleagues to consult with the Emir. We met him in good spirit and in company of his family and a few associates. He said to us that he was waiting for the deposition letter from the government house and was informed that the Commissioner of Police was on his way along with certain government officials. While waiting there was a commotion in the private wing of the palace as some unauthorized person tried to gain entry into the family section. This led to some scuffle and tear gas were fired by the security operatives. Normalcy was restored after the unauthorized persons, along with armed security operatives, retreated from the inner part of the palace. I subsequently, along with my colleagues, was able to meet with the Commissioner of Police, that is the Kano State Commissioner of Police, and other security operatives, with the permission of the Emir. They were led to one of his sitting rooms where the deposition letter was served by an agent of the state government on him. The Emir accepted the letter and decided to acknowledge it personally. After writing some Quranic verses on the acknowledgement copy, in the Arabic script, of course, along with his signature. This was handed over to the government official. In the letter of deposition, it was stated that the Emir was to be removed to Nasarawa State. We requested to know if the Emir was under arrest, and if so, we wanted to see the arrest warrant. The Commissioner of Police informed us that the Emir was not under arrest. We informed the Commissioner of Police that it was illegal and a violation of his constitutional rights, that is the rights of the Emir, to remove him to Nasarawa State against his wish. The Emir informed the Commissioner of Police that his friends had sent an aircraft to fly him along with his family to Lagos, and requested that they should be provided with necessary security cover to the airport so that they could leave. The Commissioner of Police refused, saying that that was not their instructions. They were willing to allow the family to leave for Lagos, but the Emir was to be flown to Abuja, then on was taken to Nasarawa State. It was clear to us that both the Emir and ourselves were helpless, and the police and other security agents were willing to take any measures, including the use of force, to achieve their objective. In order not to jeopardize the safety of the Emir, or the safety of any member of his family, or indeed other persons around, the Emir decided to cooperate and proceed in the vehicles provided by the operatives to the airport. We accompanied him with the Commissioner of Police to the Nigerian Air Force military base in Kano, where the Emir was put in a private aircraft and departed to Lagos departed at 6:40 p.m. The family subsequently boarded the aircraft arranged by his friends and departed for Lagos at about 15 minutes afterwards. Gentlemen, we have not spoken to the Emir since yesterday, but we understand that they're at their destination somewhere in a remote part of Nasarawa State after driving for nearly 7 hours yesterday night, and arrived at their destination at 2 a.m. This morning. We understand the choice of the location to detain His Highness Mohammed SANUSI II was intended to cause maximum trauma and distress. This again is illegal and unconstitutional. According to instructions we received from the Emir through his Chief of Staff, we are directed to take legal action to challenge the legality of the Emir's detention and banishment. We have the firm view that this action is illegal and unconstitutional. Section 35 of the Constitution of our country guarantees every citizen the right to personal liberty. The basis of the denial of personal liberty are set out clearly in that section of the Constitution. None applies to the case of the Emir. The archaic practice of banishment of deposed emirs, a colonial practice, has no basis under Nigerian law or the Constitution. We are totally perplexed at the resort to this practice in present-day Nigeria by its political leaders. The illegality of this practice was pronounced by the Nigerian Court of Appeal in the case of Attorney General of Kebbi State against His Royal Highness Al-Haji Al-Mustafa Jokolo and others, which is reported in the law report, citation given here, 2013, Law Pavilion Electronic Law Reports 22349/Court of Appeal, where the court pronounced it as illegal and unconstitutional and a gross violation of the rights of the Emir. This is what the Court of Appeal said in that case. The banishment and deportation from Kebbi State by the governor of Kebbi State of the first respondent, that is the then Emir of Gwandu, Sarkin Gwandu, to Lafia in Nasarawa State and later on to Obi, also in Nasarawa State, is most unconstitutional and illegal, unquote. We call on the authorities, in particular the Inspector General of Police, the Director General of Department of State Services, and the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice to ensure the immediate release of His Highness Mohammed SANUSI II so that he can be reunited with his family. We are concerned about the personal safety and security of His Highness at the remote location where he is being held and wish to call on all well-meaning Nigerians and the international community to bring their influence to bear to ensure that His Highness Mohammed SANUSI II regains his liberty immediately and to guarantee his safety and security. The legal team of His Highness are working both in Kano and Abuja, and unless he is released immediately, will be taking appropriate legal action. Thank you, gentlemen of the press. This is the statement we're issuing on behalf of His Highness, and we are now ready to take questions.
Yeah. Please introduce yourself. That was very timely. Live from Kano, Abubakar Mahmood, lawyer to Sanusi, Lamido Sanusi, deposed Emir of Kano. Babajide, he has raised some germane issues. Those two issues that he raised here, Femi Falana spoke about it, challenging the position and the banishment of Sanusi. Now, what we are saying here is now, let's look at the deposition. Let's set it aside. Let's not look at the banishment. The lawyer said it's an archaic law that was used during the military era that it should not come into democracy.
Even the colonial era.
In colonial era, that it should not have any place in the democracy. That after the removal of the Emir is going to now be held in detention somewhere for life.
Yes. I knew even after the Emir, that's why we say sometimes, let us wait. The Emir, the deposed Emir said he had accepted his fate. But as we can see now, both the deposition and the banishment is going to be challenged in court. Because he had said all along that he was not given fair hearing. So that statement where he said he had accepted his fate does not mean he will not challenge what has happened in court.
The legality to the wire.
So when you sit back and you start seeing how your rights have been taken away, you ask yourself, is this how I'm going to live the rest of my life? You can decide there and then that, no, I will not take this. Let me approach a court of law. So Oyebule was right in saying that after some time, when the full reality of what has happened dawns on him, then he can decide on the next course of action. So this is, look at what happened today. Suddenly he was taken out of his first habitation.
LOKO.
You know, what he will ask himself is, what's going on? Driven for about 7 hours, according to
mental
them.
torture in the middle of the night.
That is similar to what happened to the late Sultan of Sokoto when he was deposed.
Yeah.
You know, they drove him furiously from Sokoto, drove him furiously to Kaduna by road. Hemmed him between security men. He was not used to being hemmed in between. In any case, he's not going to run away. So, but it's also part of the psychological torture that you are made to go through, so that at the end of the day, you get broken. And then you now ask yourself, but why did I let myself go through?
So they're
this?
going to test if all this treatment will have a place in.
You see, I was going to come to that before we logged on to the
live press conference.
That judgment of the Court of Appeal has not been vacated by the Supreme Court.
That's
the judgment that Jakolo got. Mustafa Jakolo got in 2013. And the learned judge of the Court of Appeal who read the lead judgment said, the governor of Kebbi State has no right to act outside the clear and unambiguous provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, Section 35, subsection 1, which provides that every citizen of Nigeria is entitled to his personal liberty and that no person shall be deprived of such liberty.
Personal liberty.
Yes.
Every citizen of Nigeria.
It gives conditions upon which those liberty can be taken away.
Yeah.
But the argument now is that what the EMIR has done does not constitute one of the conditions upon which you can, that the liberty can be taken away in the way that it has been done. So I expect that this matter will end in court. And I also know as a historian that this is an archaic law. An archaic law, you know. If we do not challenge archaic laws, remember Femi Falana challenged the law of sedition.
Sedition, yeah.
You know, the law of sedition back then.
Okay. Yeah.
Not knowing that the law was no longer in existence. Yeah. Of course, again, I think it was Femi Falana or someone else who also challenged not Femi Falana, the law that Obasanjo used to declare state of emergency in states.
Yeah.
He was declaring a state of emergencies illegally. And it's funny that even today, some people will still say declare state of emergency here. You cannot declare a state of emergency in any state and go to the point of saying that all the elected democratic structures, that you are putting them in abeyance. No, that law does not exist anymore. So if you are declaring a state of emergency, it's just based on security matters, whereby you can detain a person for a whole month or 3 months without trial. But to say that, oh, you suspend the governor, suspend House of Assembly, that law does not exist in our country anymore. And it took lawyers to challenge it before we now got to know that, yes, it was even archaic. Okay. It took Keyamo to go to court to say, look, when you say there is environmental sanitation and you say everybody should sit inside his house. No, it wasn't Keyamo that started it, but he continued the fight. That it is against the law that you now put people inside their homes and say you are doing environmental sanitation. Lagos State lost the case. Lagos State lost the case. They appealed, they lost again. Suddenly, they just took the decision that no, we are cancelling it here. Because they knew that even if they went to the Supreme Court, they would still lose. Yeah. So they tactically, in order to, with their tails in between their legs, they now decide, okay, we are not, no more environmental sanitation.
This breather. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still Journalist Hangouts. We'll be right back after this break. Stay with us. Welcome back. It's a multi-award winning program, Journalist Hangouts, and we are still looking at the deposition of the former Emir of Kano State.
Let me just correct
Okay.
the erroneous impression that I gave earlier that Keyamo was the one who went to court
On service
to
chiefs.
challenge the issue of service chiefs not going through screening by the National Assembly.
Yes.
Now, and he won that case.
Yes.
For years, we were not subjecting them to any form of screening. So
service
Keyamo's
chiefs now-
matter was not related to what I said earlier.
Yinka, now when you look at this whole thing now, since yesterday, the supports for former Emir, you know, not from Kano that I've seen, not from the domain, but a lot of people, you know, are regular social media people and across party lines. We trust them now. So
No.
they've been giving a lot of verdicts.
You see, even in Kano, you know, Nigeria is a very funny country. Those who are even his rabid supporters will not immediately want to come out, because if they immediately come out, they know that whatever
They
is
have
the
Backlash.
backlash may land on them, and also some of the favors that the new emir might want to dispense may not come to them. So that is what is happening, and it's like what I told somebody yesterday. Because when the news was broke, there was argument here and there, and I said, look, gentlemen, don't cry more than the bereaved. It's the emir of Kano, and people have always been that argument. Sometimes when he talk, people say, is the emir of Kano. First and foremost, the casualty are Kanawas. Well, we are talking because we felt that maybe we felt something untoward has been done to him. But at the end of the day, it is the Kano people who will decide who their emir should be. So we shouldn't be breaking our heads and be saying that, no, he has done his bit. He has done his own. So whether we like it or not, Kano people will decide who their emir will be. And what he has done, as I said earlier, he has made his choice. The choice he has made, whether he will think in a sober moment later, think about it and say no, or why did he make that choice, is left to him. But the support has been much more outside, because some of the things he has been saying are things that most people think is happening.
It's true.
Which is true.
So-
So either a man who cannot
I'm sure
feed himself,
this
having
is not the
more
end
wives.
wives.
I mean, it's,
This is
it's
not the
an
end of
endless debate. So
this is not the end of the position.
No, it
and
can't be. It
It's
can't
going to be
be.
a running story. We're going to be on it.
It's going to be.
Now, the fumbling and wobbling power supply situation in Nigeria continues unabated. TCN says power outage will last 10 days over gas supply problems. The latest power outage being experienced across the country has been blamed on the low gas supply to thermal power stations. The Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, has let it be known that this will last for 10 days, as some of the power plants are generating 0 megawatts. Babajide, gas, very integral to the transmission of power supply now.
Yes, we made a choice to build far more gas-fired power
Station.
plants
More than hydro.
than hydro or
coal
other
or
sources.
anything.
We have just 3 hydro plants now. We have Jeba, Kainji, and Shirolo. So it's the thermal stations that we rely on. Egbin, for example, is the largest in West Africa. You know, but Egbin today, they have no access to gas, because the gas suppliers say that they are refurbishing the gas lines.
How?
So how do you then get gas across to these power plants when this kind of refurbishment is taking place? It's just like somebody saying we are doing an overhaul. You know, you need time and all that before you can. So
we're on this thing.
it's sometimes too, when vandals breach the gas pipeline,
pipelines.
this same problem. There was a time that they breached the gas pipeline from Escravos. We didn't have light for a long time, because the power plants are located far away from the source of gas.
Yeah.
So this is why we have this problem. It is something we've been saying for some time that we should diversify our energy sources. A country like South Africa relies on coal. Brazil relies so much on hydro from the Amazon River. Now, in our own case, our reliance in the past, we relied so much on Kainji. But these days, you know, when Obasanjo took over, it decided that it was going to build 10 power plants, and they are all gas-fired, you know. So this is the situation. It's not the first time. Sometimes, too, when you don't have enough gas supply, it triggers a system failure. Because if about half of the power plants have no access to gas supply, it can cause system failure. In the last 10 years, we have suffered more than 250 system collapses in our country in the last 10 years. And it shouldn't be happening. It shouldn't. In fact, in the last 6-7 months, we have suffered so many system failures. It shows that there are problems within that sector that need a holistic approach to solving them. Look at many of the big companies, flour mill, Coca-Cola, Wemco, they are not relying on public power supply anymore.
Independent.
They are now relying on their own self-generated electricity.
If you want to do any serious business in Nigeria.
And what it means is that in Lagos alone, the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, they are spending about 20.8 billion on generating electricity for themselves. There's nowhere in the world where manufacturers rely on generating sets to power their plants. Nowhere. Because at the end of the day, you won't make your money. And when they don't make their money, some of them will decide that, oh, we are relocating to Ghana. We need to address the problems of the power sector. For me now, 5 straight days, no light. I just chose not to complain, because if you complain now, they will say
it's a popular problem.
And you find someone who even if you complain, you find someone who is lucky to have supply.
18
maybe
hours,
get 18 hours, and then in a most unscientific means,
He will say that.
how can you say that? The only way you can determine that we are enjoying electricity is by looking at the generating capacity and looking at the distributing capacity. What are we distributing? Even the minister himself said, look, that generating the discos find it difficult to distribute more than 3,000 megawatts. So how can you say there is improvement? From the way the minister is speaking, you will know, except you are a chronic liar, that there is no improvement. We don't have improvement.
My generator man will tell me that, look, that's you know, he told me some months back that there's lull in his business. They are not calling
because of course
constant power supply.
Yes.
Now in the last 24 hours now, he has told me that, bros, they've been calling me every
exactly.
day.
You see,
there's no lights.
it's very unfortunate that we are even talking about this, because at this point in our country's development, these are not issues that we should be talking about. Travel to Niger Delta. The first thing you see, whether you are flying or you are driving in, what do you see? You see furnace burning. What is
gas
this?
flaring.
We are wasting gas. And these are things that people have been talking about for ages.
Gas that is not available.
We have people who have been trained here who have been saying that, look, there is a way we can do this, we can stop gas flaring. Apart from it being unhealthy for the environment and for the people, we have ways that we can do. Even if we don't have people who are trained in it, is it not money we are going to spend? We call experts from abroad or anywhere they are that, look, come and do this thing for us. One, it is going to save the environment. It is going to save us money. Something that you should be using, you are now burning it and you are importing the same thing. Does it make sense? I think that at a point in time, we must come to that realization that Nigeria needs a complete overhaul in all sectors. We shouldn't even be talking about gas not being enough for us. We have, is it hydro that we don't have? We have that. Gas, we have. Solar, we have. So why can't we aggregate all this and make power Power should even not be one of the problems that we will be talking about in Nigeria. But unfortunately, I don't know where the problem lies. A man promises you that, no, we are going to solve it. He gets to power. Perhaps he sees that the problem is enormous. He starts complaining. And Obasanjo spent 8 years. That was one of the cardinal things he promised to do. You remember how much was spent? And up to now, we are still talking about it. Over 20 years after that, we are still talking about power. Gas flaring, no gas today, no this tomorrow, and no that. When are we going to solve this problem?
When are we going to solve this problem? Because a lot of people will tell you that these 10 days is nothing compared to the days of darkness they've had. That this 10 days is actually inconsequential.
Some people will even tell you they are not even, they didn't even know.
They've taken the accepted fates that they are permanently on generator.
There are some people whose communities have not even had light for years.
Yes.
There are communities like that. I remember telling the reporter in Ekiti to go and do a story about a community. I think Bonyi local government. So they've not had light for almost 2 years. You know? So
the larger community too in Ondo States.
Let me tell you, now there is extreme heat in the north. After the Harmattan season, there is extreme heat. Don't compare the heat here with that of the north.
Don't compare.
If you go to LOKO, you know that there is heat. It's like a furnace.
And that's not even the
Go to Katsina. It's like a furnace.
Don't talk about that.
And unfortunately, I was speaking with my friend, the CPS to the Secretary of the Government of the state, Yaradua. Yaradua was saying, look, the problem is we don't even have light. You ask them what is going on, nobody is ready to give you answers. We have real problems in that sector. Government has spent so much money subsidizing stakeholders, subsidizing the value chain, but the problems linger. And the problems are not limited, they're not just limited to the discourse alone.
No.
Every sector, every subsector of that power sector has its own problems. Whether it is the transmission or generation, they all have problems.
The problem they will tell you for hours and you shake your head.
So if the Nigerian Gas Company, that is a subsidiary of the NNPC, cannot supply gas to Gencos, then what are they going to generate? They will have no money. They won't be able to generate anything. And they are losing so much money. As after about roughly 48 hours of this problem, they had already lost, across the value chain, they had lost about 117 billion. So you can imagine it going on. It's destroying the economy. It's destroying the economy of the country. It's a problem that has to be solved. I watched the minister lamenting. And I'm like, this man has not even been here for 1 year. He's already going gray over this matter. He's lamenting, the discos are not investing in the sector. They are not expanding capacity. They supply electricity to them. They refuse to take it. And the discos too will now throw the blame back to TCN that, look, your transmission lines are weak. If we take it, we will be risking even fire outbreaks and the rest of it. So I believe that they should stop the needless blame game that is going on. What Nigerians want to see is improvement in that power sector. Because there's no improvement, except we are deceiving ourselves. What is the generating capacity? What is the capacity that the distributors can tell us that they have? If a country like South Africa, that is not even up to half of our population, I don't think there are more than 60 million in South Africa.
No.
If they are generating about 48,000 megawatts, what are we talking about? And we call ourselves Giant of Africa. We are struggling to generate 4,000.
We can't even.
We are struggling. We have never transmitted above 5,000. 222 megawatts.
That's even a long one.
If you do it that day, the second day, you won't be able to do it. It will lead to system failure. So we have problems that we need to address in that sector.
Okay.
And we need to look at other sources of electricity generation. The other day I heard them talking about Katsina. You know, the way when you are going to Katsina, you see the wind, this thing just wasting away there. We can try wind, we can try solar, we can try even biofuels, ethanol. We can all the opportunities are there, and we are wasting away.
I like how you really thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for hanging out with us today. And Babajide Kolade Otitoju, thank you. We're going to do it again tomorrow, and that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program and watch Journalist Hangout on our platforms showing on the screen. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Uzuwakun. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria. See you tomorrow.